I'm super excited. Like Linan mentioned, this is our last training session. So we've been doing the Retreat Leader Pro series for about 4 weeks now. This is going to be our 4th session every Wednesday. And this is a good one because we're answering your questions. So we're really excited about it. Maybe Linan, go in and just do a quick intro. By the way, I always forget this. I'm Paloma and I'm the host of the Retreat Leader Collective. So I should probably say that first. And then Linan, go ahead and tell us a little bit more about you. A quick blurb.
Yeah, sure. No, and I also want to say Paloma is an amazing mentor for yoga teachers, for wellness retreats, any kind of retreat. She's really supporting you guys in some of the most magnificent ways I'm seeing online. My name is Linan Saperstein. I will say this from the beginning because sometimes I forget I am in India right now. So sometimes my video will lag. Usually my sound is super crisp, but sometimes my video lags a little bit. I am the founder and chief marketing strategist at the Experience Experts. So I am also a fellow experience creator, retreat leader for almost now 8 years. And I've been in the retreat space for over a decade. I predominantly work with retreat venues, so retreat centers, boutique hotels all over the world, and some of those hot spots that you guys love. But closest to my heart is retreats, and working with retreat leaders and sharing my marketing know-how, so you guys have just a more fluid experience with hosting retreats, filling your retreats, being successful in the retreat space, and having what we often call a solid retreat business. You know, you're running 3, 4, 5, 10, 12 retreats a year, even more, and you're really successfully sharing this with the world. And so super grateful to be here. I love Paloma, and this is a good topic today. We're going to be answering all the questions.
Yeah, so we decided, if you don't know, if this is your first time watching this series that we've been doing, Linan and I'll give you a quick intro. Linan and I actually planned this way before the pandemic hit. And we had a set of topics that we wanted to talk to you about planning your retreats, building your retreat business, marketing, all the good stuff. And then the pandemic hit, and we decided to really switch up the content so that it would meet your need, right? So because we saw like there was immediate need, and that's what we want you to do with your communities, like really be in tune with what's happening in your community and what people are asking for right now. And so we knew that we had to change our topics, our content to fit the need of people, of the retreat leaders in our communities right now. So this last session, the 4th one, is going to be all about kind of drawing all these questions that we've had throughout these trainings, and also being able to address those really burning points, like those things that you're asking yourself and that we're all asking ourselves, honestly. Like, for example, we'll get started with that one in a bit, is when can I plan retreats again? That's a question we're coming across a lot. So maybe Linan, do you want to get started? And again, before I say anything, before Linan takes over, don't forget to say hi in the comments, and you can ask your questions there. So say hi in the comments if you're watching. We would love to hear where you at right now. Where are you watching from? Because this is a global community, and that's what makes it so unique. So we can stay connected that way.
So we have Apostolia saying, hello, ladies, love from Greece. We have my partner who's across the retreat center, Ravi. He's saying love from India, so welcome. And then I actually have somebody in Costa Rica trying. So Paloma, I don't know if you can add people to the group right now. There are some people trying to get into the group right now. So some people from Costa Rica are trying to join. So let's get them in. Basically, me and Paloma are, go ahead.
No, why don't you, while I add them, you go ahead and get started for it.
Perfect. Yeah, so today we are answering your burning questions. But the first question we want to ask you is, what is the opportunity that sits in front of you? A lot of you have something magnificent, something really expansive waiting for you out of this experience, out of this moment in history. And in order for you to make space to let in that opportunity, let in that abundance, let in all that money and transformation that you're going to bring to the world, the first thing I just wanted to share today, because me and Paloma, we have really fun WhatsApp conversations during the week between these calls and these trainings, and we were talking about the concept of letting go. And this concept of releasing. And so I'm going to invite everybody to do a little bit of a grounding exercise here right at the beginning. Just, you guys know all about this. Just to close your eyes and think about what you're holding super tight onto. The things, maybe it's fear, maybe it's security and things that have been protecting you, things that have been of your survival. And maybe ways of being, making retreats, ways of running your business, ways of connecting with potential participants, ways of selling, that you've been holding so tight to that you've bloody hands. And what we have an opportunity to do right now, in this moment in time, in this event, the shift in humanity, the shift in the way that people live all over the planet, we have the opportunity to let go. So you might have been so tightly wound, so contracted, so tense, holding on tightly to these ways of being, these things that kept you safe in the past. And the invitation right now is to release, to relax, to be calm, and to allow things that no longer serve you, things that you can't take with you where we're headed, into these questions, into these burning questions, into opportunity. They can't come with you where we're going. And I know right now, a handful of you are seeing these ways of being, these things that you've been holding so tight onto pop up into your mind. And right now, just inhale the opportunity and exhale anything you are letting go of. And again, breathe in that abundant, delicious opportunity and let go of fear, uncertainty, unknowns, all the ways that are blocking you or stopping you from really stepping into your full brilliance, your full potential, your highest purpose right now in the space of retreats and live events, because we need you to step into opportunity now more than ever. If you can open your eyes, we're going to dive into these burning questions.
Thank you for that.
Thank
We
you.
all needed that. I feel like we forget sometimes that these grounding exercises that are not just for meditation retreats or for yoga retreats, they're great for every moment when we come together as a group, as a circle, right? As a community. So thanks for that. Yeah. So we are going to start with the first group of questions. So what we noticed is that all the questions have kind of like we had a lot of questions with the same topics. I talk with my hands a lot, by the way, everyone knows that. So,
and if you guys have questions, put them in the comments below. We've got people, we've got Carol from Heaven on Earth Sanctuary in Costa Rica, Megan from Costa Rica, Anjali from California, Maya from Peru. So if you guys have got burning questions about retreats, about the future of retreats, put them in the comments below, and Paloma is going to dive into this first burning question.
Yes, we'll dive into the first one. So the first one is in the topics, and I'm going to pull up my notes because I don't want to forget, and we're going to be reading some of these questions aloud. So the first one is the big burning question, the white elephant in the room. When can I start planning retreats again, or maybe launching my retreat again, right? When can I launch my retreats? So some of the questions that we got in this kind of topic was from Irene, one of them. Yeah. She says, I have a retreat scheduled for November. My concern is if people will be afraid of the second wave and how to convince them to travel. That's one. And then Diana also asked whether or not July is going to be like far enough away to resume a retreat. So both of them different time frames, but the same question of like, is this going to be too soon? And I think this is the question that we need to be answering and asking ourselves right now. Like, and as a caveat, we don't have all the answers when it comes to time frame, right? We just don't know. This is like Linan was mentioning when we were talking earlier, there's no modeling for what is happening right now in the travel industry. It's never happened. So we really have to really proceed with caution when it comes to giving you this advice. But at the same time, I think we can make some deductions, right? So Linan, why don't you share, you talked about an article that you just got, which I think could be a good kind of like intro to these questions.
Yeah, so I just popped it into the comments below. There's a group out of Boston, the Atmosphere Research Group. They're a global travel research group, and they just put out their first prediction. And again, they start from the beginning of the article saying, we have no model for this. This is us drawing on what we can draw on. And the recovery timeline they're seeing is about 2 years. So not saying that to scare you. And the clickbait is, don't read the title and freak out that everything's not going to be fixed until 2023. But I love, again, we're going to talk about phases. There's going to be phases and waves of people coming back and feeling comfortable traveling, feeling comfortable booking retreats with all of you guys. And they're saying that once everything is declared under control, the first 6 to 9 months is going to be what we call tiptoe travelers. These are people who are going to be mostly personal and leisure-based travel. So this is retreats. These are the first 6 to 9 months. Once people can fly, they will be booking retreats right out the gate. And these are people who are a little more educated. They're going to be a little bit more comfortable financially, right? They're going to be in higher income brackets because they didn't take such a big hit financially from this time. And so think about your audience, think about what financial bracket they're in, what is their financial situation during Corona, during quarantine, and a lot of what the article describes them as is cabin fever escapes. And I just today got 2 messages in my inbox from strangers. They were just friends of friends, people asking about when retreats are coming and if they could go on a retreat in June. So there are these people who've got cabin fever, they're stir crazy, they're at home, and they're dreaming of the retreats that you guys host. And so that first 6 to 9 months is going to be super pivotal. And then there's both an 18 to 16 group that they're calling the pioneers. This is when business travel will start again, a lot of frequent flyers, people in very high income brackets, a lot of international flights in that first year. And then again, the 12 to 18 month, they're the fast followers. So this is when we start to return to normal, right? We're getting in that final piece. And then when they're saying is 16 to 24 months, things will be under control completely. And so leisure travels will start to travel again in mass. We don't know if it'll look identical to pre-corona, pre-COVID-19 travel, but we can predict that people will feel comfortable jumping back in 2 years' time, full blast. But again, there's going to be that tiptoe traveler, and they are retreat travelers.
I love how you said that, because I feel like the tiptoe traveler, like Linan says, is the retreat traveler. And this is the opportunity that we're talking about. Like in the beginning, when Linan did the whole exercise on letting go and stepping into that opportunity, the opportunity here is for you to look at how you speak to your potential customers about how your retreats are going to be safe, secure, healthy, because here's a safe way to travel, to go on a retreat, right? If you were communicating to them, our chef is going to take all the measures, we're not going to go to a hot spot. Like, this is a way to really contain and still at the same time experience travel, but contain it in a safe space. I feel like if I were to travel, I feel like going to a retreat would be the safest way to begin to travel again. So this is a great opportunity for you to step into that role of being even better at communicating with your clients, at making them feel, reassuring them, making them feel like they're taken care of, and that you're really understanding the situation, and you're taking every single step to ensure that their health and safety is first, right? Yeah. And then as we look at, and I think one thing here as well is really important to look at your business in these phases as well. So as the travel industry is going to move through these phases of the tiptoe traveler to the frequent flyer to the mass traveler again, what does your business look like, your retreat business specifically, in this framework, right? So you can look at that. And also, Linan, you said something really cool, is really look at your audience. Who are they? What income bracket is? It makes total sense that people are going to start traveling right after this is under control, and the first travelers are going to be people who are not financially hit. So if that is your community, if your community is middle-class families who have a lot of other expenses, who may have been unemployed for a period of time, that may not be the person's going to go first on a retreat.
Jump right in. Yeah.
Jump right in. So what you can think of is, how can I present less pricier opportunities for them to experience retreats, 1-day events, overnight retreats, local retreats. So look at your audience, Look at what is in front of you, really. And this is a time to really start getting to know your clients, because I feel like a lot of retreat leaders, we can all be better at this, right? At really looking at who is in my audience, who are these people, and getting to know them better. So this is your opportunity to do that, to really go into that market research mode and put that market research hat on, right? So that's that question. We're going to be really kind of developing this idea of these phases as we go in the group as well, Linan. So I don't know if you're up for it, but as we get more information from the travel industry, Linan is incredibly connected in the travel industry globally. We'll be posting things so that you can be up to date with the latest information. In this group. Yeah. So the next group of questions was, what will be the new normal? Which goes along with this question, right? So let me read some of the questions we got in that set of group of questions. So Megan, she asked, will travel ever be the same? Will people have enough disposable income to attend retreat and take a vacation? Linan, jump into that one, because it's kind of in the line of what we just said.
Well, I think travel will shift. And I'm not saying it's going to be completely eliminated. I don't think it's going to disappear. I think it's just going to look different. And I definitely think people will eventually have disposable income. And again, this article that just came out, there's a prediction of 2 years. But again, we're waiting for economies to pick up. We're waiting for jobs to pick up again. We're waiting for unemployment to kick in. So I think the fear around disposable income is not really valid for right away, because we're going to be in a weird economic spot globally right out the first few months when we first come out. And what we want to do is always in this group, Paloma, the way Paloma teaches, the way that I share marketing, is we always want to be ahead of the wave, ahead of the curve. Because once tourism begins, once people start traveling, once people start spending money again on travel, and again, my perspective is that, and Paloma believes it, travel will be better than ever.
Yes.
You know, people are sitting in their houses and their bucket list dreams are building up. And honestly, I believe in something I've talked about it on previous calls, is the rubber band effect. And I've actually had it validated by a few other people specifically in the retreat space. But once things are open, there's going to be a huge flux of people wanting to connect, wanting to transform. Not only the bucket list traveler, but people who started to feel stuff while they were in quarantine, whether it was with relationships or their health, or they saw loved ones pass away or get very sick. And a lot of this stuff has come to the surface, and they're going to want action. They're going to want to change. And they know that if you're doing your marketing due diligence during quarantine, during the pandemic, people are going to start to connect with you. And again, your main goal is to have that connected, engaged audience, and your system's prepared, because when the flux comes, you've got to be able to receive it. Yeah. So for me, it's really about seeing this time as an opportunity for you to rethink and regroup, and then being ready for this new traveler that's going to come through.
Suzanne also asked that she facilitates a lot of retreats, and her biggest fear is that people will not see travel as essential once we come out on the other side. And I think it goes along with this same question. And like Linan just mentioned, travel will actually be better. So I think that a lot of very watered down retreats, we talked a lot about the typical just yoga and food, you know, the very like niched, not niche, but the opposite of niche retreats will be you know, disappearing, because people are going to look for why do we say that travel will be better? I think retreat travel will be better specifically because people are going to be looking for deeper connection, deeper experiences, right? More profound experiences, because they need to, like Linan said, heal from a lot of this. We all have been dealing with internal stuff, and it's bubbling up like never before. And it's like universal. So we're not only dealing with our own energy, we're dealing with our community, with our politics, with everything around us. So there's going to be a lot of processing that needs to be done, and making sense of what's happening within and in our communities. And also on top of that, people are going to have had the time to sit and think, what do I want to do with my life? What do I really want to do? And travel is this top three for most people. Like they want to see the world, they want to go out, they want to meet people, like-minded people all across, they want to meet other cultures, because that's how we feel fully alive. So that will be essential. It will be essential for people, right, to travel again. But again, it will look different, because I think people will be a little bit more picky, honestly, with where they want to go and who they want to go with, right?
And
so
where they want to spend their money,
exactly.
where they want to put their money.
So the way that you can take that opportunity into your business right now is to really fine tune. We've been talking about this throughout these 4 weeks. Fine tune what your retreats are all about, your content. Fine tune your audience, fine tune who you're speaking to, who you serve, how you serve them, what the benefits are. This is the time to do that, because once we get out on the other side, and this is my own personal, assessment of the situation, is that people will be pickier. They will be they'll have some money, maybe that they put away for this, and they will choose wisely, basically, right? So that's why we need to all really work hard on our retreat concept, our theme. So I love that question.
The best of the best, the best of the best. I want to jump in the comments. Carol asked, do you think people will stay on this side of the world, or do you think they'll be going to countries that really have not been hit with COVID? So I think knowing how different countries are being portrayed in the media is very important. So I don't think it depends on truly how badly they were hit. It really depends on how badly they were portrayed in the media. Actual numbers, I don't think, are registering in people's minds. They're not tracking exact numbers. I mean, I work with clients in Italy, and we've had extensive conversations about it's going to be hard for Italy to come back. It's going to be really hard. And even I'm starting to feel like New York City might take a good hit too. So if you are hosting in New York City, or you're typically hosting in Italy, you're going to have to rethink. But a lot of the tropics, the places that me and Paloma love, Mexico, Costa Rica, Hawaii, we're not really hearing a ton of stuff. And so that's fantastic, right? Do I think that they're going to be like specifically associating, like, how many cases did you have of COVID? I don't think people are going to be looking for those specifics. I think they're going to be looking for countries that lead the way in safety, and how, they're taking care of travelers. And you can, even as a retreat leader or working with your retreat center, making sure that you are setting the precedent, like, oh, everybody has hand sanitizer, or are we sending everybody hand sanitizer? Or if people are still traveling with masks, sending them a great mask, being really creative about this, because again, I think it's just going to be about the media representation, and then we'll have to really wait and see about which countries start to lead the way in the new norm, the new precautions, the new safety regulations, and that will make people feel more safe traveling, and also coming to the countries and feeling welcome.
So think about this. If you are right now situated in a hotspot, and I think I'm in California, which is, I consider a hotspot. It's one of the hotspots, although we've been managing this really well through our, stay at home that we implemented early on, which, has been a lifesaver, honestly. But I think if you're coming from an area like that, there may be countries who have not been as hard hit. And I'm thinking a lot about South America and parts of Asia, actually, who have closed down their borders, closed down everything super fast, because they saw the wave coming through Europe and then into the United States. And they're like, we cannot handle this, as we just will go under if we have to deal with this. So they have been really good at kind of implementing a lot of these countries, not all. Brazil is one of them who I feel like has some opportunity there. But other than that, a lot of the countries, my mom is actually in Bolivia. And so I'm getting like up-to-date information, and they are in full on lockdown. They don't even have, I think, over a certain amount of cases. They have 10 deaths, and they're in full lockdown. So a lot of these countries will manage really well, I think, at the end of the day. But will they open the borders? If you're coming from a place that has been a hotspot, that's what we have to wait and see. So if you're in a hotspot, you may be better off starting to plan local retreats for those people in your hotspot who's going to need that.
To warm them up.
And also because people in your community will maybe need that, right? And so local retreats may be better for all coming from hotspots. We'll see what happens. Now, this is just temporary. You're going to be able to travel all over the world eventually. We will get a handle on the situation eventually. It is just a matter of time. So we just have to look at that and take every information we have with a grain of salt, because nobody really knows, right? So thinking about that. I wanted to jump into the third question or group of questions, which I'm really excited about. So this was a question that actually Chase asked in the group, and he said, have you found a go-to way of selling retreats really far in advance, 2021, or have any advice on that? And I think what he's talking about, it's pre-selling retreats, or really thinking about your retreats, you know, selling your retreats a year in advance or more than a year in advance. And I think that this is such a great question. Why? Because this is a conversation that I was already having with people before. Pre-selling you can look at pre-selling from different perspectives. On one hand, you can be pre-selling your retreat by kind of testing your market. It's a way to test your market, right? So you don't have everything prepped and you start selling like a retreat that's not fully done, right? So that's one way to pre-sell. And the other one is to plan a retreat really early on and have a deposit and just make sure that you hit that number really early on. So you can either start early, or you can actually not have anything prepped yet. Or some of it, you know, you may have some details, but not everything. And you're already selling to see if people are going to be excited about this. So it's more market research related as well. Lynn, you have lots to say here. So why don't you jump in?
I will. So, and I love the way you put it, because if you are selling 2 years in advance and maybe you have a really great payment plan, right? Really small increments that can build up to the 2021 or 2022 retreat. And so that's an easier way for people to access it financially. But the one way that I'm really passionate about is when you kind of can pre-sell a retreat before it really even has fully figured out what it is yet. And I've pre-sold retreats without actual dates, even just approximate dates. So months, or even selling it like fall 2021. And basically people are buying the idea, they're buying you, they're buying the dream, right? And there's a great set of tools on the internet. You can easily Google this, and I can put some more resources in the chat after this, but it's called idea extraction. So these are pre-calls that you check in with maybe people you've had sales calls in the past with, people who have attended past retreats, or even just inviting people saying, I'm doing some market research. I'm learning about what the ideal post-COVID-19 experience or retreat would really be. And you maybe have 3 or 4 questions, 5 maximum, and you really want to get to the heart of, you know, are they willing to spend the money? Where would they be willing to travel to? What kind of things do they want included in their experience to help them process the COVID experience? And at the end, what you can say to them is, you know, I'm going to take all this data that I'm getting, and I'm going to put together really the most amazing retreat that I can possibly do. And it's going to be maybe a year out. At the may I keep in touch with you? May I tell you what I create? And see if it would be something that would interest you. And most people will say yes. And that's the amazing part about this. You really get to talk to people one-on-one. It's like not a sales conversation. It's really just you listening and them sort of expressing their emotions and their feelings and what they want and their desires. And when you say, hey, I'm going to put this retreat together, they're like, yeah, I would love to hear more. And so when you do put together this basically outline of a sales page, you know, with a little bit details, like this is the possible venue or the location, and these are the dates, and here's some of the stuff we're going to do, you can pre-sell a year in advance easily. And whether it's a deposit or people, you know, investing in full, it's such a powerful way to get this possible experience in front of people, and for you to start bringing in money so you can either put down a deposit at a retreat center, and you can start to support yourself and start to support these people and help them envision when travel is possible again and when things can start to fall into place.
And I think a good time to start this pre-sale is when we kind of get over this apex that a lot of people are talking about with COVID. So depending on where you are and where you want to go, think about the apex. Once we're over that curve, really on the other side, and things start to feel, I mean, even the markets, you know, everyone talks about the markets, not that for me is the most important thing, but if you look at the markets and they start feeling better, you may sense like there's a stabilization going on. People are feeling more secure about anything. Someone's printing something on my computer. I don't know if you heard that. But. So I think that is the moment when you start thinking about pre-sales, not right now, when we're in the thick of it, we start thinking, because people are
In
obviously not
in
going
a
to,
month, in a month or two,
in a month or two,
by
but
June or July.
you
If
can
the
start,
peak,
yeah, if the peak is like, we've gone over
in
that.
May.
But I think what's really important is that you do those calls that Lynn was talking about, where you're kind of inquiring, like, what is this going to look like? What is this first retreat going to look like? And this is such a fun experience, right? Like just being able to craft something totally different that you may not have done before, or modify. I don't want you to totally throw everything you did in the past out the window, but modify your content so it really meets the need that we have right now post-COVID, to lead these retreats in a very aligned way, right? To really help people heal, help people feel better, people process, and all these things that we've been talking about. And I think it's really important that all of our retreats post-COVID for at least a year or two have some resonance with what happened, because this is probably, if not the most significant situation all of us have ever lived. And you know, obviously if you're in a war zone, I've gone through some of that compares to that maybe, but other than that, like, we're all kind of, you know, living through some really difficult moments. And so we're going to need that help processing. And people are going to, again, we've talked a lot about leadership and stepping into your role as a leader. Now is the time.
Watch the old videos. Watch the other videos. If you haven't seen them, go back and find them and watch them.
So I think that's really interesting. So I put actually in my notes, wait until phase 2. We talked about different phases. Wait until phase 2 to start doing the pre-sale. And I love what you said, Linnea, about breaking down the payments in smaller chunks, because that's going to help people. If you have a worry, which we've had in one of the questions, right, about people having disposable income, the smaller the payments, the easier it is for them to be able to go on this retreat. So if you have a whole year for people to pay like a monthly, chip away at it monthly, that means that be something that people are going to be interested in and feel like it's doable. It's a doable expense, right?
Yeah. And remember, we can do special pricing. You can add special bonuses into your pre-sale. Additionally, you can definitely include some like special bonuses if people pay in full, or if they can make a larger chunk of the payment. Give them a free coaching session or access to some of your online offerings that you're creating right now. But think of things that you could do to incentivize them jumping into the pre-sale.
I love what Apostolia said in the comments. She said, I believe that people will give their money to lifetime experiences instead of buying things. Back to that question that we had earlier about if people will feel like this travel is going to be something they want to spend their money on. Yes, I totally agree with you, Apostolia. I feel like people, and you know, the people that we talk to are people who love travel, you know, so it's really important that we have that positive mindset. I think this is mindset of thinking people will want to spend on this, because at the end of the day, we're reprioritizing our lives, like incubated here in our own little homes, thinking about what are my priorities, right? It's not going
and the perspective. It's the perspective.
It's a perspective.
It's the perspective. It's a perspective, because people have been, you know, like living off of all the food that's just in their refrigerator. You know, what do I spend money on? Really going minimal, really going bare bones. And it's like, what is the most important? Not just what's the most essential, because a lot of people are surviving on essentials right now. And, but what do I really, really want if I only can spend my money on certain things? And like Apostolia said, lifetime, unforgettable experiences. That's what each of you need to really hone in on your experiences being. I know we have a few retreat leaders, but really showcasing your retreat centers as really some of the most amazing, unforgettable places that will stay with you for a lifetime.
And one more thing I say before we jump into the last group of questions, I think that there's going to be a potential to negotiate with your venue in a different way once this is over. So your venues will maybe be more flexible and open when it comes to deposits and the amount of the deposit, because they're going to want to bounce back, and we want to support them, obviously, right? We cannot host retreats at retreat centers, so we want to support our venues. But there may be a way to negotiate with them in a different way, where it's easier for you to be able to host your retreats there in the venues that you really want to bring your people to. So that's another.
And I've already heard that some retreat centers are creating special discounts, or if you can sort of join them and hosting multiple retreats over the next few years. And there could be like a package deal. So think of creative ways that you can work with your retreat centers or your venues, and partner and really meet each other where you're at right now.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so we're going to jump into the last set of questions. We have some good ones as well. So this is how to kind of think about your online offerings. So Corey asked,
right now.
So Corey asked, what do I focus on right now, given the current COVID situation, as well as how do I start planning for success when things open up? Carla said, another question, right? Another person, transitioning online and keeping intimate connection. She wants to know more about transitioning online and keeping an intimate connection at the same time. She's worrying about, is there an intimate connection here? So these are different questions. And the last one was Apostolia, and I'll read that one as well, and we'll just go into it. Strategies on growing your client list. So online strategies, and how to compete and stand out from a ton of online offerings. That's a good one as well, because we've all seen the like mass flood of online offerings. So we'll touch on some of this. We can start with Corey's, who wanted to know, what do I focus on right now? Like, what do I do right now while I'm waiting for the curve, right? Waiting to be able to get back on actually planning and promoting my retreats. So we have some things, Linnea, I don't know if you have any ideas, but I think we have to really look at, as we're waiting on this, again, look at that curve and make sure that we are looking at our location, where we are at. Are we in a hotspot? Are we in an area where it's going to take a little bit longer? And are we going somewhere where that's happening? So that's the first section, right? And then, so that's how you plan for success, because Corey's question at the end was, how do I plan for success? But I think what you can do right now, this is huge, because I love that question. That question is all about stepping into the opportunity of what's going on right now. And I have to say, I've been incredibly inspired by how people are showing up despite this situation, because retreat leaders and travel people have been hit so hard, travel agents, venues, hotels. And if you are one of those people who said, you know what, this is not going to bring me down, I'm still going to show up for my people, I'm still going to build my business, I'm still going to be here and serve and do whatever I can, you should be incredibly proud of yourself, because this knocked us all down, but we stood back up. So I think it's really important that while you are waiting, the waiting period, this period that's awkward, the COVID period, it's really important that your community is the center stage of whatever you do. And what does that mean? That you're building that community, because if any moment, I think this is the best moment, honestly, in a long time that I've seen, where people are actually paying attention online. They're on their phones a lot. They're paying attention, they're wanting connection, they're wanting to hear what you have to say. Take advantage of that and show up for them and share with them more about who you are, what you do, how you serve your people, how you teach your content, whatever it is that you do, show more of that online. This is in the form of free content. You can do a lot of free stuff just to get to know those people and build that community and have your people share with other people and bring, their communities into your community. So this is the time to build community. Corey, I think that, I don't know, Lynanne, if you want to add anything to that. And that goes along with that question of how to grow your list at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, well, and this even pulls in apostolias, and that's why I think we group them together. But it's like, how do you stand out? Well, the thing is, it's not always about standing out and reaching everybody. One thing that both me and Paloma talk about is your niche and speaking to the particular audience that's your ideal people. And if you're creating really dialed in, valuable free content like videos, blogs, articles, checklists, trainings, whatever you're creating, and it's really specific to your community, to the tribe that you're building, that you want to reach out to, that you want to build, that you want to cultivate, they're going to have friends that want to join that community. And they're also going to be like loving your content and just eating it up, because it's exactly what they need. And again, we've talked about this on previous calls, but being relevant to COVID, being relevant to people who are stuck at home, and really addressing their needs right now. If they trust you in this situation, which is a crisis, it's a space where a lot of people are in panic and fear. They can trust you now. If they can build that know, like, and trust now, when they're outside of it, they're on the other side of it, and you're offering a retreat or anything else, they're already going to be like, yes, Yes. So you're really training your yeses. And I think the other thing that's worth saying again, we've already said it before, is this time is preparation time for when the rubber band comes, but really 80% of retreat planning and marketing happens before the retreat. So you've got all the time in the world right now. Not that you have to push yourself to the limit or go too crazy, but really start paying attention to this stuff now, creating content, looking at your processes, looking at your systems, and be prepared, you know, at a moment's notice kind of for the next launch, for when you can have your next retreat.
In a very, like, I think, easy way to build your list, Apostolia, by the way, is, and this is a more specific thing, is to first of all do some research of what people are wanting and yearning for right now. Again, being relevant, right? So asking your community, what do you want to hear more about? Getting on the phone, getting on DMs, and like asking people, what do you want to hear more about? What do you need help with? How can I show up for you right now? Then
ask them.
Ask
them.
Just ask that. When you have a set of, you know, create a little database with all your answers and people, you know, people's answers, and use that to guide you to create something of value that you can then share in exchange of opt-ins, in exchange of people putting their name and email in. That is as simple as it is. It's called the lead magnet. A lot of you know what that is. Some of you may not know. So look it up on Google. It's that easy. A lead magnet is basically a free piece of content to generate leads, right? That's why it's called a lead magnet. And it can be in the form of it could be a guide, a physical PDF of some sort, where you give people a checklist, a guide, and if you have opted into any of my stuff, that's what that is. It could be a video, it could be a training, it could be an audio, meditation, it could be so many different things. So look at all your options and see, okay, with what people really want, because that's gonna make sure that you're creating something that's going to have good reception, like people are gonna be open to it. Once you create that lead magnet, you have to set up all the text so that when people, you know, when you share it, people can go to your website, put their name and email, and then they receive that lead magnet in some way, shape, or form. So it's really important that before you create your lead magnet, which is the way to build your list, that you're asking the questions, the right questions before you do that, because that is going to make sure that you're going to make sure that you're not creating something that people don't want and going through that, you know, motion several times. Instead, go first to your people and then create that lead magnet. What are your favorite ways to creating lead magnets, or what type of lead magnets do you like, Lena?
Honestly, I like ones that are really simple and give a good taste of who you are and what you're about. And so it's not only really catered to them and something that's going to magnetize them and pull them in and really be irresistible. And even I often say, you want to be giving something away for free that people are like, oh my God, I can't believe I got this for free. Yeah. Because if this is what they give for free, imagine what they charge for. So really think about how you can really pack value and a lot of intention into what you're offering. I really like, video training series, especially for retreat leaders, because a lot of our interaction is in person. So giving them, my partner just did one called Rise at Home, and it was like an at-home retreat experience. A couple of my friends have done sort of morning rituals, morning experiences that people could have. But think about what you could give that will elevate them. They'll feel results. They'll feel something at the end of it. I've created a lot of workbooks. That's something that I'm just really into. But every audience is different. It's like, I can't even tell you, like, if you're a really beautiful singer and you want to do like a meditation with a sound healing and bring out your singing bowls, like do that. Like if there's things that really pop out of your retreats or people really remember about you, that's the kind of thing you want to give them that taste of. I always say it's like a really juicy peach, like just plucked from the tree, and you just get one bite, and you can't have just one bite because you've got like the juices dripping down your face and you're like, I want to devour this whole peach. And that's what it's got to be. It's got to be so juicy. It's got to be so ripe and so perfectly timed that the thought of not eating the rest of the peach it's inexplicable. You couldn't not keep eating and keep wanting more content from you. Yeah. So really dialing it in and asking people, like, if I created a checklist, would you guys like it? if I created an ebook, would you like it? Like really see what would have people jump and be like, oh my God, that sounds so freaking cool. Then that's the thing. That's the thing you really want to use as your lead magnet.
In your set of questions in your market research, you can ask, how would you want this content to be delivered? Would you want it to be a video? Would you want it to be a PDF that you can kind of print and put up on your wall? Would it want, ask them how they want to consume, what platform they want to consume it in. And maybe it's a Facebook group, maybe it's there's different ways to do this. And it's all about really putting that creative hat on. We talked about that a lot. This is the moment to be creative and resourceful. And that is, we have time right now to be able to figure these things out, these tech stuff, right? The tech stuff that's
dial it in.
Now it's time to really take that, like dive in and see. I'm afraid of like, or I'm not afraid, but I'm feeling like really scared when it comes to figuring out my MailChimp. I don't know how to do it. How do I send an email out? How do I create a list? How do I do all these different things? Now it's the time to do that. And I think just kind of to bring it all home here with the online stuff and what to do right now during COVID times, it's really important that you're building your list. A list is so important when you're planning retreats and growing your retreat business. So now that should be your number one focus. So community, building your list, bringing in new people, not only having like nurturing the same group of people, but trying to reach more people, right? That's one. And also, I think one thing that we haven't talked a lot about, but that's really important, is you can build your network right now. And I think one of my mentors that I really love says, your network is your network. No, your network. Your net worth
is your net worth.
I'm like, your network is your network. Your network is your net worth, right? What does that mean? It means that you are only as rich as your community, as your people, as your peers, as the community you can partner with. So bring that home with you, like that little piece of nugget of understanding that you can also build relationships with peers, see partnerships, people that can help you build that retreat community once things are starting to bounce back, right? And because a really good way to fill your retreats is affiliate marketing. It's affiliate referral marketing. So that is another thing that you can look into by starting to build that community with like-minded businesses around you. I think that's—
And also connecting with people in this group right here. There's over 5,500 people in the Retreat Leader Collective. Connect with other retreat leaders to hold you accountable, to learn about other ways of doing things, to support each other. If you're, just starting in the online offerings, maybe they know something you don't know. Maybe they know of a great venue in a not hot spot that you might want to consider. So start to connect. A lot of us are craving those calls and those conversations. And so between family and your kids and whatever else you're doing in this time, connect, really dive in deeper with other people and see how that can expand you and expand your capacity to be a leader, to be a retreat leader right now.
Yeah. So hopefully these questions have given you some clarification to some of the questions you may have had before, or you may now understand a little bit better of. Maybe you didn't pose that question to yourself before, but now it's opening up some other questions. So if that's the case, post in the comments below, post in the group. If you're processing this and you're thinking about it or rewatching this later on, post in the comments and we'll try to get to those questions, and other people may be able to have an answer for you as well. This is a community. I'm really grateful to Linan for her showing up every week here with me, because I know that she has in a totally different time frame. It's late for her over there, and the fact that she just wanted to show up to share her wisdom, her incredible wisdom when it comes to retreats and marketing. And you'll see a lot more of her. She's not going anywhere. We're gonna still collaborate. There's gonna be other stuff. This is just the end of this training, this 4-week training that we created for you, but we'll have more stuff for you. And if there's anything specific you want to see, you can always ask us, DM us, send us an email, or post in the comments. We want to thank all of you so much for showing up every week. A lot of you have been those same ones showing up, and I'm so grateful. You have no idea. This is something, the fact that I can put a little bit of makeup on, put a nice shirt on, maybe I don't have pants like everyone's talking about. I do have pants, I have yoga pants. But just be able to feel like I'm showing up and I'm here for my community. It's a lifesaver for me. Honestly, it's something that I've been looking forward to every day. So we'll have more stuff. And just immediately before I give Linan the final words, We have a training coming up for those of you in the US next Tuesday. I'm going to post more of that. I'm inviting Jen Corley from We Travel to talk about the CARE Act. And so we're going to explore some of the benefits that you as an independent contractor or a sole proprietor have access to right now through the US government. So we'll talk some of that. She has some great resources, and we're going to have an interview that's next Tuesday at noon, and I'll post more of that. Thank you, Lynn. You're amazing. Do you want to say some final words here? Oh, I think her video froze. That's a bummer. Okay, so she is maybe jumping back on. Are you back on?
I am back on.
Perfect.
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for showing up. And you know, a couple of the questions we had about, you know, how do we keep connecting intimately while we're online? Well, I think that this training series was a really beautiful example of it. You know, we have really shown how the sort of trauma and the challenge, but also the opportunity and the expansion and the possibility in this time, in this moment in history, we've really used this time to glue and connect and really support one another. And if you know anybody who could benefit from these trainings, get them in this group, get them watching these videos, and, you know, just really think about how this could be an opportunity. That was the big question we wanted to present to you guys. You know, we answered your burning questions, but really our big question to you guys is, how is this an opportunity? What is the opportunity for you guys right now? And that's the note we really want to leave you with, is what are you creating? What is the opportunity? Put that in the comments. That's what we want you to be posting about in the group. That's what we're excited about. Let's not fall into all of the heaviness, the uncertainty, all the things that we can't control, the things that are so far away from us, and focus on what we can do and what we are capable of and what we do have the resources and the expertise to complete. And I love you guys, and I'm so grateful that I got to be here.
We love you guys. We will rise above this, and we're together. We're connected. We're in community, and that's all that matters. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you, Lynn, for being my partner in crime throughout these 4 weeks, and we'll keep seeing more of her. Thanks, everyone, and thanks for tuning in.